Magandang umaga sa ating lahat. I'm Efraim Osingat and welcome to our free stock market seminar. Before we start with the free lecture, let me read to you this disclaimer that any of the statement or opinion expressed in this presentation are my own and do not necessarily represent those of AIA Philippines. The presentation is purely educational and not meant to become an investment advice. Likewise, the contents of this presentation are not to be recorded or published online without prior consent of yours truly. This will be our discussion flow with this online presentation. Uh, will just introduce myself to you at saka i-discuss ko ang paano, how the market works, yung compounding na tinatawag. I will explain also the basics or introduction of the Philippine stock market, specifically the PSEI, Candlesticks, Blue Chips, Penny Stocks. I will also lecture on how you will earn in the stock market. I will likewise lecture on the fundamental and the technical analysis, which can be used to analyze other assets as well, like cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, Forex, commodities like gold. So what I will teach you today is applicable also to other investment platforms. Okay? And then I will lecture on the hierarchy of investments and the ways you can invest in the local and global stock market. And then I will relate it to your goals and dreams, including the barriers to your goals. Finally, as the highlight of this presentation, I will lecture on the comparison of available investment platforms in the Philippines, which include life insurance, stock market mutual funds, treasury bills, bonds, Pag-ibig MP2, among others. So if you like the content of this presentation, then stay tuned and grab your ball pens and pens, pati papel para take down notes kayo with this presentation. If you go out and search for these kinds of presentation, you'll be paying for 2,000 to 5,000 pesos per session. While this presentation, I'm giving it to you free. So, ang hinihingi ko lang po, if you like this kind of videos, then consider subscribing to this YouTube channel para makareceive pa kayo ng future videos tulad nito. Let me just introduce myself to you. I'm Efraim Osingat and I passed the Philippine bar exam last February of 2020-2021. Hence, malapit na po akong maging abogado. Pending the signing of the roll of attorney at saka taking of the oath, doon pa lang po ako magiging ganap na abogado. But for now, pending those activities, hindi pa po ako full-fledged na lawyer. So, I'm also a certified public accountant by profession. I passed the CPE board exam last 2012. So, part as well of my credential is that I am a master's degree holder, major in financial management with flying colors for the thesis entitled Financial Management Practices of Young Professionals in the National Home Mortgage Finance Corporation. I am also a registered financial planner, which is the highest certification for financial advisors in the Philippines. Their office is located at Ortigas, Philippines. Part of my experience as well is that I'm an assistant professor. I was a previous assistant professor at Polytechnic University Philippine Women's University, I'm sorry, and the University of Makati. So this is me, I'm Efraim, and I'm glad to be lecturing you about the stock market for today. So if you want to learn these things, then this webinar is for you. Let's begin our discussion by discussing with you the definition of personal finance. What does personal finance means? In simplest terms, sa layman, pag sinabi pong personal finance, it talks about how you manage your money. So, in simplest terms, personal finance means handling your money. So, it talks about budgeting, banking, insurance, mortgages, investment, retirement planning, tax, estate planning. So, as you can see dito sa illustration, a man and his family will need money to survive. And that knowledge about money also affects your health and the longevity of your life. So to have a maginhawang buhay, one must learn how to manage his or her money very well. Kaya maiging pag-aralan ang personal finance kasi nga it affects your whole life as a man, including your family. So it is but right na alam mo kung paano ang tamang pag-handle ng pera. Say for example, if you're a single person without a family, however, marami kang utang despite na meron kang magandang trabaho, yet marami kang utang, then you will be living a miserable and problematic life because you are financing, you are using a lot of your resources just to pay off your debt. So with the proper knowledge about personal finance, you will be able to utilize to the maximum level yung pera which is scarce. Would you believe me that ang paghahanap buhay is not a lifetime endeavor? There will come a time that you will stop working. Remember our experience last March 2020 where lockdown started in the whole country. So it is an example of us Filipinos reaching the retirement stage. Kasi walang labasan that time. Kung anong meron ka, yun ang bubuhay sa pamilya mo at sa sarili mo. So better judge yourself whether your experience last March 2020 and then subsequent lockdowns is good or not. Kasi kung hindi siya maganda, then you have time to prepare. Kasi ang actual retirement mo is age 60. And you have time to prepare, and the best time to prepare is now. So you have to learn personal finance. You have to learn how to maximize the use of your money in order for you to have a productive and wonderful life. So yan po ang introduction natin with our lecture for today. That's personal finance. Now let me discuss to you how money works. Paano nga ba ang pera? Paano siya gumagana? Ganito po ang paggana ng pera. In this chart, you can see apat na chart na lines, na graph. We have the blue one, which is your money na nakalagay lang sa ilalim ng kama mo. The green one, which is may epekto ng inflation. Ang inflation, when you say inflation, it is the speed of increase in the prices of commodities. Yun yung pagtaas ng bilihin, presyo ng bilihin. The red one means yan yung pera sa graph. The red graph means yan yung pera na nakalagay sa time deposit, which is earning, sabihin na natin, for the sake of illustration, 5%. And then the violet one, mutual fund. So if we compare the four lines, the four activities that a person can do, one can generalize that mas malaki ang kikitain mo kapag linagay mo ang pera mo sa mutual fund. And the purpose talaga of investing is to maximize the use of money. So instead of putting your money sa ilalim ng kama mo, why not put it in good use? Dahil kapag hindi mo ginagamit yung pera mo, nababawasan yung kanyang purchasing power caused by the inflation. Yung yung activity mo na pagtatago mo ng pera mo sa kama is actually depreciating the value of your money kasi nga nababawasan yung product na kaya niyang bilhin. Whereas kapag linagay mo siya sa tamang platform, you will be earning money from it. So ito ang concept ng compounding. When, let's say for example, investment in the stock market. Ang compounding kasi, once you invest in the stock market, you buy a stock of the corporation and thereby you become the owner, part owner of the corporation. That investment in the corporation earns dividends and then nag-earn pa siya ng capital appreciation. So in that sense, nagiging compounding yung effect niya. So mas matagal mo siyang hawakan, the more tendency na tataas ang kanyang value. So ang ibig sabihin ng compounding, yung initial investment mo mapapatungan ng kita, tapos yung investment initially mo plus the kita, mapapatungan ng kita ulit. So napapatungan ng napapatungan, nagpa-pile up, kaya siya naging compounding. That's the explanation of the concept of the compounding. Hence, when you invest in the stock market, your money is compounding. The same as true with the mutual fund. Kapag nag-invest ka sa mutual fund, nag-compound din ang pera mo. Whereas kapag naglalagay ka lang ng pera sa kama mo, it does not earn compounding. Naglo-lose pa yan ng value due to inflation. So in effect, yung return ng mutual fund which is the violet one over the inflation, yun yung tinatawag ngayong real gain. Real gain from the mutual fund. Yun yung actual na benefit na, that you derive out of your investment. So ibig sabihin, when you invest, try to beat the inflation. Wag lang yung may return na 3%, masaya ka na. Try to look to other investment platforms that can give you higher investment returns. Pero caveat lang, the higher the risk, the higher the return. Kapag mas mataas ang risk mo, mas mataas yung possibility na kitain mo yung isang bagay. So it's up to you as an investor kung ano yung risk appetite mo. Yun naman yung caveat doon. Let me discuss to you naman itong rule of 72. Ang sinasabi lang po dito sa rule of 72, when you divide 72 by the number, ito, say for example, the mutual fund is giving you a return of 10%, you divide the 72 by the number 10. So with that, it will give you a 7.2 na number. So it means your money will double in 7.2 years. Shortcut lang po siya sa computation. So kapag 5% naman ang return niya, 72 divided by 5. And that is around 14 years. Magdodoble yung pera mo in the next 14 years. So, ang ibig sabihin, the higher the rate of return, the shorter is the period of time that your money doubles. Okay? So, I hope that is clear, guys. Kung may questions kayo, you can write it down sa comment section and I will try to answer them one by one. So, allow me to move forward sa ating lecture. Let me now discuss to you the stock market. Ano nga ba ang stock market? Ang stock market ay lugar kung saan nakakabili ng stocks. Ang stocks ay pag-aari sa isang business. Hello po. Hello?
Hello po.
Hello?
Ryan po ito from Home Credit and the police reported for quality purposes. Kailan po ba si Sir Efraim?
Stock market is the place where you can buy stocks of public companies. Isipin niyo siyang parang palengke. Kapag kayo po bumibili sa palengke, ang mga nabibili natin dyan, lahat ng pangangailangan sa loob ng bahay. At meron po kayo dyan as buyer at merong seller. Mga nagbebenta, sila ang seller. And then, available ang lahat ng pangangailangan natin sa household. What determines the price is yung law of supply and demand. Kung naalala niyo pa yung economics ninyo, kapag mas marami ang supply, bumababa ang presyo ng bilihin. Kapag mataas ang demand, tumataas ang presyo ng bilihin. Ganon din sa stock market. Kapag maraming bumibili sa isang stock, which is the ownership in a single company, tumataas yung stock price niya. In effect, kumikita rin yung investors, yung nagmamay-ari ng stock. Let me elaborate that later in our discussion. So, ganun din sa stock market. We have the Philippine Stock Exchange as our market, and then with the use of brokerage companies like Call Financial, pwede tayong bumili on our own. There are methodologies to buy stocks from the market. Hindi na tulad ng dati na kailangan mo ng tao na broker to buy a stock. Ngayon, online na po lahat. We have platforms available na pwede nyo gamitin to buy a stock. It depends upon human emotion. Depende kung ano yung gising mo ng umaga at yung nabasa mong news, aangat or bababa yung presyo ng stock with that. Kapag nagpanic ka at bigla mong nabenta yung ownership mo, then you incur losses. So dapat, prior to buying an asset, dapat na-analyze mo muna with fundamental and technical analysis para hindi ka malugi sa iyong investment. Let me tell you that investing in the stock market is a very volatile investment. Very risky siya kasi magalaw ang presyo ng stocks sa merkado. When you buy an asset, a stock, the tendency is it fluctuates very often. In comparison sa stock market, ang cryptocurrency market ay mas double the risk. Kasi nga, sobrang fluctuation ng crypto prices as compared to stocks. So, my advice to you is put only that money na pwede mong i-spare. Huwag mong ilalagay yung tuition fee ng anak mo. Huwag mong ilagay yung emergency fund ng pamilya mo because there is a tendency that you will lose money. And majority of the brokers, mga investors, lose money because of impatience at saka maling diskarte. So, my suggestion to you, aralin nyo muna and then bago kayo maglagay ng pera, aralin nyo muna. Okay? So, let's move forward. Let me discuss to you yung index ng Philippines Stock Exchange. It is composed of 30 common stock companies, which is the benchmark in measuring the performance of the Philippine stock market. So sila yung mga biggest company sa Pilipinas which is considered as the barometer na pang-measure ng performance ng bansa natin. So currently around 7,000 na ang PSEI and in the prior years umabot na siya ng 8,000. So ang projection ng ibang advisors, analysts is that PSEI will reach as high as 15,000 points in the next years to come. So the best time to invest is really today. With the strategies, I will talk about it later in this discussion. Let me share to you the profile of investors sa stock market. Would you believe na only less than 1% of Filipino family knows how to invest in the stock market? Napakaliit po niyan in comparison sa number of investors sa stock market sa US. Ang participation sa US ay 30% ng population nila. Ang population sa US ay around 300 million. So 30% of 300 million is around 30 million investors participate. For us, sa atin, let me recompute that. 300 million, 30%. Around 90 million investors invest in the US stock market. Whereas dito sa Pilipinas, only 1 million of our population. So there is a big gap na kailangang punuan ng ating education system. Kasi apparently, in order for the country to propel to the next level, kailangan makiparticipate ang investor. Kailangan tumulong ng Pilipino to put money in the companies para mag-grow pa ang mga negosyo sa Pilipinas. Of the 1 million accounts, 57% are online accounts. Ibig sabihin, nagtre-trade sila ng sarili nila. They don't need persons or brokers na mag-execute ng buy or sell transaction nila. They can do their transaction. At I will be making future videos regarding that. So better subscribe in this YouTube channel para malaman nyo kung paano. I will be using call financials for that. And then out of the 1 million market accounts, 62% doon ay may less than 500,000 annual income. Ibig sabihin nito, majority of the 1 million account holders are earning around 30,000 pesos per month. So, supervisory level yung trabaho ng mga taong ito. And then, 43% of them are ages 30 to 44. At mas madami ang male investors compared sa female investors. NCR pa rin ang may pinakamaraming nag-invest. And we have a lot of catching up to do dito sa Luzon. Kaya ako nagle-lecture ng ganito para din sa kaalaman ng lahat. And to my fellow Filipinos dito sa Luzon, maybe you can learn how to invest in the stock market. Not only for your benefit, but for the benefit of the whole country. So allow me to discuss candlesticks. So I think some of you already saw charts kapag charts ng mga stocks, so kapag pinagsama-sama mo sila, ganyan ang maging itsura. It will represent a projection. Makikita mo ngayon yung trend. As you can see. Ulitin natin. If you dissect this graph, ito yung magiging itsura niya. A green bar and a red bar. A green bar indicates an increase in that stock price during the day. A red bar indicates a decline in the stock price during the day. So kapag ganyan, so depende sa chart timeline na ginawa mo sa iyong chart. Kapag pinagsama-sama mo sila, magiging ganito ang itsura niya. So the red one, ulitin ko, is a decline. The green one is an increase in the price. So kung makikita nyo, ganyan ang nangyari. Remember March of 2020? Itong presentation na to was made last March of 2020. In-update ko lang yung ibang items and then furnish it to become a presentation. So, ang mga presentation ko dito is way back March of 2020. So, nakita nyo nag-decline siya. Yung PSEI natin, umabot siya sa around 4,000 level. That is the best time to buy an asset in the stock market. Kasi kung titignan mo na siya, yung performance niya ngayon, umabot na siya ulit ng 7,000 level. So the difference between 4,700 and the 7,000, madaming naging milyonaryo ng pandemic. Yun yung katotohanan. That is the effect of the COVID-19. Nag-decline yung PSEI natin, which is the barometer of performance. Yan yung status dati. Ayan. Pati yung DJI, Dow Jones Industrial Average, bumagsak din. Negative 37%. Ang PSEI, nag-decline 38%. Ganun din ang SPX 500. These are US stock, US indices. Nag-decline din sila, 33%. Pero ang worst performer na index during that time is the Philippines, 38%. And nag-drag yan hanggang 2021. Ngayon pa lang siya nagre-recover ngayong 2022. So, to give you an example, nung 1994, you bought a share of Jollibee. Ang cost lang ng Jollibee dati is around 15 per share. You bought 1,000 shares. Today, noong 2020, ang market price na ng Jollibee is 95 per share. So, by using simple arithmetic, ang magiging net income mo with the transaction is 80,000. You just have to buy the earliest time possible and sell it at the time of the peak of the price. Yung Jollibee, umabot yan ng 200. Pero because of the pandemic, nag-decline siya, nag-95. Pero kapag nabenta mo yan at 220 per share, limpak-limpak ang perang nakita mo. So my advice is buy low and sell it at the best possible price there is. Mas malaki pa sana dito ang kinita mo. So you have to learn how the market works. Okay? Tapusin ko man nun dito at masyado nang mahabang presentation ko. Please come back for the part 2 of our presentation.